Hello, hello! Right, I am going to answer some questions before the main show today. So, these are from the Synthwave Warriors over on Patreon. So, yeah, let's just crack on. So, Ace and Ford asked, do you play any other instruments? So, basically no is the answer to that question. It's mainly guitar, that's kind of my main instrument. Although, I mean, I have sort of dabbled in playing the keyboard, and some drums as well, and maybe some like bass guitars as well, like acoustic bass guitars and actual electric bass guitars, but I don't know if you could call it like properly playing, you know, like guitar is definitely my number one instrument, so definitely the guitar. So yeah, I guess no is the answer to that question. What is your equipment setup with the Black Jackson you use? Types of pedal, model of the guitar, etc. So firstly, the make of the Black Jackson, let me just double check. I always have to double check because it's quite a weird name. So it's got a funny name, right? It's the Jackson Pro Dinky, and it's DK2 RMG M, and it's in metallic black. So that is the Jackson. And just in terms of my general setup, I've mentioned this a few times before, but it's when I record, I like to try and keep things simple when I can. So I just have my Yamaha THR-10-2, and it's like a studio recording amp, so it's perfect for recording in an apartment or something. And when you see me playing with my headphones in, that's basically because out of courtesy for my neighbours, because I would hate to be a neighbour from hell and play super loud and just be that kind of person. So but yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've seen me speak before in previous videos about this, but I like to keep things simple when I can, so I'm all about if you can keep things as minimal as possible, still have fun, that's the main thing for me. I have sort of experimented recently with a slightly heavier distortion pedal, but it's the one I used in my recent Dance with the Dead video. I think it's down here actually. Just check. Find it. No. Revv distortion. Revv G3. Yeah, no, I thought it was down there, but it's not. In terms of my recent stuff I've experimented with, the Revv G3 distortion pedal is what I've used, and it's slightly heavier. So I used that in my Dance with the Dead video, the most recent one of that. The link to that's somewhere up here or down below, wherever I put it. So yeah, that's basically it. I just like to keep things simple when I can. So Willie Houston asked, where do you feel single coils fit into retrowave the best? And to be honest, wherever you can make them fit. Okay, I'm not I can't really say for certain oh, this fits there, this fits there. I personally always associate single coil things with maybe I don't know, I think you can get a good tone, especially with a Fender or something, if you're using single coils and you go for a softer tone, you know. So if you think of things like bands like the 1975, if you can get a softer tone like that, maybe go for a kind of a plucky kind of a tone, you know, you can maybe get some lighter things going with that. But at the same time, you know, if you really want to, you can also make a single coil sound, you know, distorted and stuff. So there really is no straightforward answer for that, to be honest. So I think they fit wherever you can make them fit, you know. So they can be in a heavy track or they can be in a lighter track. Honestly, you can adapt it into what suits you, for sure. And the second question was, what DAW do you use, and have you ever made your own airy backing track with one? So I used to use GarageBand, but now I use Reaper when I moved from Mac to Windows. So yeah, Reaper is quite good actually. It's pretty good. I use a plugin called Valhalla Supermassive, so that allows me to get some nice sort of reverbs and nice kind of synthwavy tones in as well. So that's good. And I have, in terms of making a backing track, I've never made a backing track as such, but I've always jammed over the backing tracks and sometimes posted about them on my channel as well. So yeah, and sometimes occasionally I do make my own songs as well. So But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just I like experimenting, and whatever comes out of that is up for surprise, to be honest. Right, Mr. Euphoria asked, you said you will do some video game related tracks. Do you have some favourite video game music themes you like? So yeah, any sort of game that's got like a retro kind of synthwavy track, I'm sold on. And it's kind of unfortunate because I wouldn't class myself as being a huge gamer, but I do play, you know, games now and again, and sometimes like my friends will point me in the right direction of games as well that are like have that retro wave or have like a nice kind of synthwavy kind of soundtrack to them. So, you know, for example, games like Hotline Miami, the video that was on here, but I had to take off because it got a copyright strike. It's on Patreon, by the way, if you want to check that out. So yeah, Hotline Miami, video games like that. Anything that's like cyberpunk, I quite like the cyberpunk kind of vibe as well. I like that kind of futuristic kind of vibe as well. Also, some of these, like, there's a soundtrack I did recently on my Patreon. Is it Brigador or something it's called? Again, I had never heard of this game before. Brigador, yeah, that's it. So that's got a great soundtrack as well. So really, it's some of the games that are, you know, anything that has a synthwavy soundtrack, I'm sold on. So I'm not fussy with that, and I'm sure there'll be many more to come that I'm wanting to look into and explore. So yeah, for sure. Right. And the next question was again from Mr. Euphoria. What's your opinion if you want to start to play electric guitar? Should you always start with classical guitar before you switch to an electric guitar? So I'm an example of somebody who didn't do that. So I just went straight to electric guitar, and I'd heard that from lots of people as well, that you should start with classical and then move on to electric. But I really think it depends on the person. It depends on your style of learning, and it depends on like what you want to learn to play. So I've never been one for like studying musical theory, textbooks, practicing like unmusical things over and over again. But the thing is, when you first start playing guitar, yes, you have to get the basics down. So you have to like work on your finger strength, you have to build up the calluses, you have to work on finger placement, you have to get a feel for playing the guitar, and that's a muscle memory that you have to build with experience. But in terms of learning where to go on the neck and what notes to play and things like that, I think that, you know, I think if you learn a classical or acoustic guitar first before you come to the electric, you might find the transition easier, because the acoustic's harder to play. It's very less forgiving than the electric. You know, you have to work a bit harder to get the tones you want, and you know, if you're not holding a string down right, you know, and you strum it, the guitar will let you know that. So yeah, but then when you move to the electric, you might find it a bit smoother, easier to sort of make chord shapes and play the notes and things. So it might help in that regard as well. But like I say, I never did that. I went straight to electric, and I practiced just from putting on backing tracks, playing the backing tracks, improvising, trying to improvise over them. I watched some YouTube videos as well, but just basic ones on, like, you know, some scale shapes, like the blues pentatonic scale shape. I learned a little bit about the modes and things like that, just to get a rough idea. But at the end of the day, most of my learning came from just playing and having fun, playing what I wanted to play over songs, trying to come up with ideas, trying to be creative. And I think that's the most fun you can have when you learn an instrument. And I honestly believe that that's why most people give up playing an instrument, because they just get bored and then they don't want to pick it up again. They've got a lot of things going on in their life, they're too busy, they can't be bothered, and then as time goes on, it's harder and harder to go back to it. But I think if you can enjoy the process of learning and you can have fun with it. So I mean, simple things like if you learn basic chord shapes, you know, you can learn like 4 basic chord shapes and then go and look at tabs for some popular songs, and you could probably play them, because especially the pop songs these days, because most of them are written in like 3 or 4 chords. You know, you can go and play some Ed Sheeran songs if you want, you know. But yeah, so honestly, it's just it's finding what works for you, finding a way that keeps it enjoyable, and you want to keep coming back to the guitar again. So yeah. But in short, I don't think it's essential to play the acoustic before you go to the electric. No. Let's see. There's another question here from Mr. Euphoria, which says, is it possible, or would you like to play live on stage and do a cover? So yeah, I actually have played live on stage before. So I played in Glasgow in 2018. It was the Outland show. So I played for Kallax and Michael Oakley. So it was actually, I played all of Michael Oakley's set, the guitar parts for him, and then I played my solo that's on the track Hold On Tight. That's actually on Spotify as well. So yeah, and the video for that is on this channel as well if you want to check that out. But yeah, that was a crazy experience, you know, because that was just going straight from playing in my bedroom to going on stage, and it was just, yeah, it was unbelievable, you know. It was incredible, you know. Yeah, that's definitely an experience I'll never forget. It was so amazing. And I also did a bit of, just for fun, I did a bit of busking in Glasgow as well on the street. So I had my amp out on Buchanan Street, and I was just, you know, playing and playing some synthwave stuff, and it was good fun. You know, it was something out of my comfort zone, and I wanted to push myself a bit, so I did it, and yeah, it was good. You know, it was good fun. It was good fun. Yeah. Right, so Kurilru7 asked, do you want to rework older tracks you have made? So this is something I've been thinking about, and I think I will go back and revisit some of the older tracks I've done to try and see if I can maybe mix them a bit better, or maybe try another improvisation over the track. That's the other fun thing about improvisation, is that if I was to put on any track I've done before and try and play again over the same track, I might keep the main melody the same if I have like a riff or something I quite like, but then I can change what I'm doing between those riffs, you know. I can explore different parts of the neck, I can try different things out, and that's the beauty of improvisation, is that you can really do what you want, you know. You can do 10 takes on a song and they might all sound different. So yeah, that's one thing I've been thinking about, is going back and maybe revisiting some of the older songs I've done, maybe some of the older Dance of the Dead ones, and yeah, some of the other tracks as well. But yeah, yeah, we'll see what happens. But one thing I can say for certain is that I'm quite excited to see what the future holds, and I want to get more stuck into the Patreon and really focus more on that as well. It's unfortunate that YouTube's kind of driven me to, you know, move away and do more stuff on Patreon, but it's just that the platform itself has just irritated me so much, and I think I've just had enough of it, to be honest. And it's a shame, because I'm aware that not everyone can access Patreon where they're from, but at the same time, it's something that, you know, I can't, unfortunately, without sounding too harsh, I can't really cater for everybody, and I've got to look out for myself here. And YouTube has given me absolutely nothing. You know, I've been on YouTube for, well, what, 10 years? More than 10 years now. And what I've got to show for it is, you know, I've got a decent amount of subscribers, I've got a lovely community, but, you know, all my videos, or almost all my videos, get copyrighted. Even my own songs get copyrighted. So I got a copyright claim on my song Hold On Tight. And that's I'm in that song, right? That's my song on Spotify that Kallax mixed in my solo. So it's unfortunate when you have to deal with things like that, you know. But you can dispute these kind of things. It's just the copyright strikes you've got to watch out for. So that's that's the main reason why I'm now mainly on Patreon. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I'll probably do another one of these Ask Me Anything questions on Patreon again for the Synthwave Warriors. So like I say, the link's below for my Patreon. Feel free to go there, check it out, explore the content. I've got tons of content on Patreon now that's not on YouTube, so if you want to get a bit more of my guitar stuff, you can go over there, and you know, for as little as £1 a month you can access everything. So yeah, head over there, check it out if you want, and I shall see you soon. Alright guys, take care, thanks for watching, and all the best.